You guys, people are still moving to St. Petersburg, Florida, and it's not for the reasons why you think. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about just that. So let's get after it right now. I'm over here today in St. Petersburg at the Coffee Pot Bayou right behind me. And I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about the reasons why I think people are still moving to St. Petersburg in droves. And again, it's not for the reasons that you think. Fun fact, did you happen to know, because I didn't, that St. Petersburg, Florida was voted by Outside Magazine the happiest city in America? Okay, well, now we really got to dive into the reasons why, right? I think it comes down to a couple of things. Outdoor access to many parks and beaches, affordability, we're going to talk about that, diversity, and the most important, as the wind is blowing me like crazy, is residents feel like they are free to be who they are, and it's accepted. And I think that's really important right now. So let's discuss a couple of the reasons that make up this group. One of the reasons why I think people are moving to St. Petersburg is the booming job market. Now, some of the locals would probably disagree with me on that, but if you do some research, it's quite fascinating. There are many Fortune 500 companies that reside here in St. Pete, like HSN, Jabil, and Raymond James. Not to mention, a lot of companies are starting to move to the St. Pete area, and a growing number of innovative startups. And some of the highest paying jobs in the St. Petersburg area are of course in the medical field, like medical doctors, management, and the tech field. Then there's other careers with great salaries in St. Petersburg. Architecture is one, engineering, marketing, pharmaceuticals, and sales engineering, just to name a few. So the job possibilities are here and they're growing. So I think that's a good reason. Hey guys, I just wanted to stop the video real quick and tell you thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, notification bell as well. And of course, if you have any real estate needs or any relocation questions in the central west coast of Florida, hit me up. I'd love to speak to you. All right, let's get back to the video. Another reason is the cost of living. Now, this is a controversial topic because again, the Tampa St. Pete area was floating under the radar for so long, and it was below the national average for a long time. And then of course, COVID happened, the Super Bowl, and things like that. So people started to figure out who we were. So St. Petersburg is floating about 3% below the national average for the cost of living, but it's 11% below the national average for housing. Okay, so our median house price right now in St. Petersburg is still floating around that $331K area. I think it's probably closer to 5 if I'm honest, but that's what the data is telling us. So it's still, we are 11% below the national average. So yes, in Florida, we are always floating below the national average by leaps and bounds. So housing was always way more affordable here than most places. But again, as we grew, things are going to go up, right? That's just the nature of progress. Another reason is for the expanding infrastructure. Now, I've talked about on another video that we're going to pop up here for you about in the Tampa area why people are leaving, and it has to do with the lack of infrastructure. Well, at least over here in St. Pete, the city council has started to have more meetings about their infrastructure and what they can do to improve it. Unfortunately, in order to expand the infrastructure in cities, they have to raise utilities. So monthly utility bills will increase by 4% to 8.5% in St. Petersburg due to aging infrastructure and inflation. That's just a necessity that nobody can get around. The problem is when folks start to get upset about these increases, it's important to remember that our system is old. This is a quote by Claude Tankersley. According to Claude Tankersley, Public Works Administrator, he says our systems would need to be replaced even if we had zero population growth. So don't forget that St. Petersburg was founded around the late 1800s. And of course, it has grown and the infrastructure grew and changed with it. So yes, every so often we're going to have to update our infrastructure, and that's what's happening. And so of course, we're all going to feel it in our pocketbooks, but ultimately it's going to benefit everybody. Now let's talk about some fun stuff, like the historical charm, which that's why I came over here to the Old Northeast, the Coffee Pot Bayou, one of my favorite places to walk around. There's been a ton of bikers and stand-up paddleboarders behind me. It's been really cool to watch. I kind of am jealous. I'd love to be on a stand-up paddleboard today. It's a beautiful day. Here's some historic points of, I can't speak. If you're a history buff, here are some historic points of interest for you. The Don Cesar, which is our famous pink hotel over at St. Pete Beach, the African American Heritage Trail, Old Pinellas County Courthouse, Indian Burial Grounds, and that leads me to one of the coolest things I think is the Jungle Prada prehistoric mounds for the indigenous Tocobago Indians. And when I did a little research, you learn something new every time you do these videos, right? So the Tocobago, if I'm saying that right, Tocobaga Indians were here from 900 to the 1500s. And they used to build these mounds, and the mounds they would put their temples on or their chief's residence. And we still have some of those mounds today, and there have been finding all sorts of interesting artifacts. So that I think is pretty cool. Also, another reason I feel that people are still moving to St. Pete is because it's a culture hub. Let me tell you about all the cool museums that we've got. We've got the Dolly Museum that houses over 2,400 of his creations. We've got the Chihuly collection, which is that beautiful blown glass, and that's at the Moran Art Center. We've got the Duncan McClellan Gallery and the Imagine Museum, just to name a few. We've also got the Museum of Modern Art that sits right near the pier. We also have, as I mentioned before, the African American Heritage Trail, as well as Dr. Carter G. Woodson African American Museum to learn more about the impact the African Americans had on the history of St. Petersburg. Cool. I personally am there's so many history tours you can take in St. Petersburg. I'm actually thinking of taking a couple myself just for the pure education of it. And last but not least, we've got nature and recreational parks galore. We've got the North Shore Park that has a little beach. We've got the Vinoy Park that you can ride your bike all the way around. We've got the St. Pete Pier, which is 26 acres of this open air pier that has a couple of restaurants on it. It's got an open air pizza joint and a light installation. I think that's what they call it, some art installation. They've got a playground. They've got pop-up shops. It is really fun, and they've got trams so that people don't have to walk it. You can also bike on it. It's a wonderful little added addition, not little, big added addition to the St. Pete area, so that gives you fun things to do. And it's so close to the Vinoy Park, there's usually some sort of festival happening at the Vinoy Park. Biking trails, botanical gardens, some of which are free. So I believe that with the arts and culture, the history, the affordability, and all of the nature that you have around you, St. Petersburg is more than just a place that has great weather and beaches. I think that's why people are still coming here in droves. So whether the locals, and I include myself in that as well, whether the locals like it or not, people are still moving to the St. Petersburg area. But it's not just because of the weather and the beaches. It's a combination of economic opportunities, affordability, and high quality of life. That's what I think makes it so appealing. Okay guys, well I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and check out these videos up here, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.